The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Tilani Pires. The headlines. A joint program is implemented considering drinking water requirement as an emergency situation. The State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitiya says expeditious action will be taken to solve issues regarding the issuance of letters of credit. Producing Goa prison inmates for court proceedings is temporarily halted due to an illness. A heat index advisory is issued for several areas. And on international news, Donald Trump says he will be arrested on Thursday in the Georgia election case. Sports news, Jayanthi Kurutumpala's eyes the iconic Matterhorn peak in Switzerland. Considering the current requirement for drinking water in the country as an emergency situation, it has been decided to implement an urgent program through an emergency action committee jointly with the Ministries of Water Supply, Irrigation, State Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. According to the Prime Minister's office, the decision was taken during a meeting which was chaired by Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at the parliamentary premises today. The Premier has instructed to include the secretaries of the aforesaid ministries in the relevant committee under the leadership of the Prime Minister's Secretary and also to involve all relevant institutions to implement this program. The State Minister Ranjit Siamalapitiya says expeditious action will be taken to solve issues regarding the issuance of letters of credit to import buses used for public transportation, lorries and trucks used for specific purposes. He expressed these views at a discussion held with the vehicle importers. Expressing their views, the vehicle importers pointed out that local letters of credit are sometimes not recognized in the global context due to the prevailing economic situation of the country. In reply, State Minister Siamalapitiya promised to discuss this matter with the central bank and the other parties concerned. The Acting Minister of Finance, Shahan Semasinghe, has emphasized that no Member of Parliament has requested the Ministry of Finance to grant duty-free vehicle permits despite recent reports. Speaking in Parliament this morning, Minister Semasinghe stated that no MP of the current Parliament has submitted any sort of request to the Finance Ministry pertaining to the granting of duty-free vehicle licenses or allowing for such imports. Thus, he urged that such news be published responsibly rather than haphazardly accusing certain officials. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Producing inmates for the current court proceedings has been suspended for 2 weeks after the outbreak of a bacterial infection at the Galle prison. The superintendent of Galle prison said measures would be taken to produce prisoners for court proceedings virtually when required. On Monday, 2 inmates detained at the Galle prison were reported dead, while 5 others were hospitalized due to an unknown illness. The Health Ministry said today, as per preliminary investigations, the deaths and hospitalization of Galle prison inmates were attributed to a rare and serious illness caused by bacteria. Prison's Additional Commissioner General and media spokesman Chandana Ekanayaka mentioned that 7 other inmates are currently receiving treatment at the prison hospital, while 9 more are under medical care at the teaching hospital in Karapitiya. The State Minister Chamara Sampath Dasanayake says that the imports of gem and jewellery field has earned an income of $315 million during the year so far. The reports of the central bank have confirmed that the gem and jewellery field has reported an increase of 34% of export growth rate. The State Minister expressed these views at a press conference held at the President's Media Centre. Plans are underway to increase the profit of the National Gem and Jewellery Authority by 200% by the end of this year. The National Gem and Jewellery Authority alone earns 50 to 100 million rupees. That ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
A heat index advisory with an amber warning has been issued by the Department of Meteorology for tomorrow in several parts of the island. Accordingly, it states that the temperature felt on the human body is expected to increase up to a level of caution in some areas of the northern, north central and eastern provinces and the Monaragala district. Further, the public is warned that prolonged activity or exposure to the sun could lead to fatigue, while continuing such activities could result in heat cramps. The department urged urged the public to stay hydrated, limit outdoor activities and take breaks in the shade as often as possible if their work involves extensive exposure to the sun, while also requesting that all persons wear lightweight and white or light-colored clothing. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
And on Watch Light tonight, the consultant cardiologist of the National Hospital, Dr. Gotabe Ranasinghe, says that the number of heart patients reported is increasing rapidly. The daily number of heart cases reported is approximately 170. He further said that excessive use of sugar, oil and carbohydrate has resulted in this. That came to you in Watch Light.
CIB Janajaya Vasana. Unbelievable discounts and offers throughout August from CIB Janajaya Vasana. Come today itself.
Moving on with world news and the headlines first. Donald Trump says he will be arrested on Thursday in the Georgia election case. Rescuers struggle to free children stuck in Pakistan cable car. Srettha Thavisin Singh becomes Thailand's 30th Prime Minister. Donald Trump has said he plans to turn himself in on Thursday to a court in the state of Georgia to face charges of election interference. A judge in Atlanta who is overseeing the former president's case has set bail at $200,000. The agreement says Mr. Trump can remain free pending trial so long as he does not attempt to threaten or intimidate witnesses. Mr. Trump denies 13 charges including racketeering and false statements. He and 18 others accused in this case had previously been given until noon on Friday to appear at Fulton County Jail for processing. Rescuers are struggling to free 6 children and 2 adults trapped in a cable car dangling above a ravine in Pakistan. A military commando has tried to reach the car twice while hanging from a helicopter, but strong winds are hindering the operation. Meanwhile, a local official said a rope is being laid on both sides of the cable car in an alternative rescue plan. The children were going to school in Bathurgham when one of the cables snapped, leaving the car stuck 274 meters above ground. Srettha Thavisin Singh from the populist Pheu Thai party secured enough votes in parliament to become the country's 30th prime minister. While the vote was still ongoing, his supporters celebrated an end to months of post-election uncertainty in which the winning Progressive Move Forward party was blocked from taking power by conservative senators. The new premier will lead a coalition of 11 parties assembled by Pheu Thai that includes 2 pro-military parties affiliated with outgoing Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha. Back to the world news headlines. Donald Trump says he will be arrested on Thursday in the Georgia election case. Rescuers struggle to free children stuck in Pakistan cable car. Srettha Thavisin Singh becomes Thailand's 30th Prime Minister. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities for well-experienced housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for ages 40 to 58 years. Salary 125,000 rupees. Contact 037 500
Development news. A safe migration promotion unit has been established at the Bandaranaike International Airport premises in Katunayake for primary and secondary examination of Sri Lankan migrant workers. Minister Manusha Nanayakkara opened the unit established to prevent Sri Lankans migrant workers becoming victims of human trafficking. This unit was established on the instructions given by the Select Committee of Parliament to ensure gender equity and equality, with special emphasis on looking into gender-based discrimination and violations of women's rights in Sri Lanka. That was Development News.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia, ages 40 to 58 years. Arabic speaking and well-experienced home cooks. Salary 125,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can travel overseas free of charge now. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Employment Agency.
And on sports news, the first Sri Lankan summit Mount Everest Jayanthi Kurutumpala is going to climb the iconic Matterhorn peak in Switzerland. One of the most famous mountains in Europe, Matterhorn straddles the border of Switzerland and Italy. Known to be one of the most technically challenging peaks in the Alps, the climb and descent is done exclusively over rocks and ice. Jayanthi will leave for Switzerland on the 28th of August. That came to you in sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekat life ekේ change ekat niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekat niyameta set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB I am, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Amana Taka Full Insurance has entered into a MOU with the Union Bank to offer bank assurance services to its customers. Union Bank has over 25 years of service in the financial services sector in Sri Lanka. Through this partnership, Amana Taka Full Insurance will offer cost-effective general insurance solutions to Union Bank's existing and future customers, including both individual and corporate clients, helping to further improve the presence and market penetration of general insurance. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekat life ekේ change ekat niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekat niyameta set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB I am, a plan for your dream.
And on economic news, the government-owned Ceylon Fertilizer Company introduced 2 new mixed fertilizers of mud fertilizer and bandy fertilizer on Monday at the Ceylon Fertilizer Company premises in Hunupitiya, Vattala. At the same time, several types of mixed fertilizers available at low prices for coconut, cinnamon and other plantation crops were also introduced. That was economic news.
Weather report.
The Department of Meteorology predicts several spells of showers in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle, Matara districts today. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the central, Uva and eastern provinces and in the Mullaitivu district during the evening or at night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. Meanwhile, fairly strong winds of about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in the north central and northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota district. That was the weather report. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. A joint program is implemented considering drinking water requirement as an emergency situation. The State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya says expeditious action will be taken to solve issues regarding the issuance of letters of credit. Producing Galle prison inmates for court proceedings is temporarily halted due to an illness. A heat index advisory is issued for several areas. And on international news, Donald Trump says he will be arrested on Thursday in the Georgia election case. And on sports news, Jayanthi Kurutumpala says, eyes the iconic Matterhorn peak in Switzerland. That ends this news broadcast.